Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamie, and today I have a very special Halloween edition of our recent release review. Today we are talking about A Dark and Secret Magic by Wallis, Kinney. A Dark and Secret Magic by Wallis, Kinney. This is an adorable, cozy, witchy book that was released in early October of 2024. So basically the second it came out, I had to get my hands on it because I was obsessed with this cover. This was definitely a little bit of a cover buy for me, but I have also been on my journey to find my perfect cozy witchy book. And let me say, I was so excited to find this. Now, for just a teeny bit of context, I am not the best when it comes to cozy books. I often find that they are just not engaging enough. I totally understand why people love the cozy genre, and the whole point is that there's no danger, there's not a lot of stakes. The idea is really just to live in this magical, fun, cozy, warm world for a little bit of time. I totally get that. But for me as a reader, it just doesn't always work, but I have been determined to find one that finally will. Additionally, a lot of my favorite movies are really cozy. There's not a ton of stakes, and I've been trying to find something that really fits that vibe. Both the publishing world and the film and TV world have been trying to capitalize on the popularity of practical magic for many years now, and no one has really been able to do it. I've read a lot of the books that fall into this genre. A couple that come to mind right away are A Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, In the Company of Witches, and most recently, The Spell Shop. But in my opinion, A Dark and Secret Magic is the best of all of them. A Dark and Secret Magic is that cozy, witchy story. It also does have a dash of romance. It feels very fantastical, and definitely the title is going for that romantasy trend, which I gotta say, I don't really love this title, but I totally see why Kinney would have gone this direction to kind of draw in those romantasy viewers. And it makes sense because actually in this book, and the thing that I like about it compared to those other ones that I've mentioned, is that this does have just that tinge of darkness. And it makes a lot of sense in the story because this is not just a cozy, witchy fall book. This is a Halloween specific book. This book takes place in the days leading up to Halloween, and Halloween is the focal point of this story. So it does make sense that there is a little bit of darkness here. And I was really impressed by the fact that the plot in this book actually does have some teeth. There does seem to be stakes that are relevant right away. And I really appreciated that, especially because just for me, cozy doesn't always land. I need something to drive the plot, and this one does have that. Now, with that being said, I still don't think that the plot is really super relevant to the understanding of what this book is. It is a cozy witchy book. I think you probably know or have an idea of what you're getting into, but it does have a little bit of elements of our protagonist who is discovering something about herself, and that takes her down a slightly darker path than she has been living the rest of her life on. And I think that is something that sets this book apart from the other books that are very similar to it or in this cozy witchy genre. Quick pause here because I'm editing this review and I realized that I completely forgot to mention that this is a retelling of the Greek myth of Hades and Persephone that is relevant to the plot. You don't have to know that story very in depth to understand this book or to follow it. There are references to it, but it's not essential. I did think it was important to mention that because I completely forgot to say that, but yes, it is a Hades and Persephone retelling, so that'll give you an idea of the plot of this book. I loved the added stakes, but of course, because it is cozy, you do know that it's going to have a happy ending, so you still get that cozy feeling. And I love the atmosphere around here. I love the just joyous celebration of Halloween in this book. I love all of the mentions of the rituals and spells and everything that is to do with Halloween. It really is a celebration of that season. And as a Halloween lover myself, it just really, really worked for me. The cozy elements in here are really great too. I feel like Kinney does a great job of walking that line between making things cozy but not overly cheesy, which I do find to be a problem in a lot of the cozy books. So I feel like Kinney did a really good job of creating that world, creating the atmosphere, but also making it feel real and not too immature. This doesn't feel like a Disney Channel original movie, and that's a good thing. Another big praise I have for this book is that there is no shortage of magic, which is something that I actually tend to run into all the time when I pick up these witchy books. I just feel that there is just not enough magic within the books, and I don't understand that because the whole point is that we are trying to read about witches, but what is great about A Dark and Secret Magic is that there is magic on literally every single page, and Kinney does a great job of building this coven, this witch society that is really functional and very intuitive. It reminds me of a lot of the witchy media properties that I watched when I was a kid and absolutely loved. It really is connected to our cultural understanding, the modern interpretation of a witch, and it's doing it with all the fun elements that we all love. So I just feel like the magic was done really well in here. And again, adding that darker element, adding that darker layer to bring into the magic gives it real stakes. It gives the feeling that yes, this is something powerful that should not be messed with and does require a certain amount of craft, which I really appreciated. Now, I definitely really enjoyed this book, but I do have some criticisms of it. The one big thing for me is that I don't love the romance in here. But definitely take that with a grain of salt because I am just not much of a romance person in general. So keep that in mind, but what I will say is that what I do like in romances is when things are taken a bit slower. This does have a very quick romance. It's not exactly insta-love, but I do feel like on the whole it moves really quick, and that's just because this book is not very long and it does read fast, so I get that there's not a ton of time for development, but I just think that the romance could have used a little bit more development. It could have been pushed a little farther. And I think that on the whole, the character development is just not super strong. But again, that is due to the length. That is due to just the lack of time that we get to spend with the characters. I would have liked a little bit more character work because it's not just the romance. I think there are other relationships that I think deserved more depth. But again, I totally get that this is supposed to be just a cozy, fun book. So I understand that it is meant to be a little bit more surface level. It's just, I think that this would have been a perfect book if we had gotten just a little bit more character development. But even still, this book did become my perfect cozy witchy book. This beats out all the others that I mentioned. And this one definitely gives the vibes of Practical Magic the movie, not Practical Magic the book. But that is really what I wanted. I wanted a book that felt like the Practical Magic movie, and this one does. And for that, I say props to you, Wallis Kinney. This is a fantastically done book, and I will definitely read more from this author in the future. If there is a sequel, I will absolutely read it. I really enjoyed my time with it, and this was just finally the thing that I have been looking for, so I'm so happy about that. And I think if you are looking for a Halloween-centered story and you do love cozy witchy books, I mean, you have to try this one. This is a great read for Halloween, and overall, just a great entry into the cozy witchy genre. Let me know down in the comments if you have read this or if you plan to pick it up because of my review. I would love to have a little chat down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, week, month, and Halloween, and I will see you back here next time for another recent release review. Thanks so much. Bye!